afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Back in 2013, the Oxford Dictionary picked selfie as the word of the year. Selfies, those pictures you take of yourself, haven't gone out of style, and with the new year here, you can now toast yourself, or better yet, selfie your toast. To explain what we mean by that, Across the Fence's Keith Silva brings us this not-so-crummy story.
Come on over, baby. Whole lot of shaking going on.
In the 50s, the hip fad was the hula hoop. Pet rocks became a novelty in the 1970s. In recent years, there was a one-time warming trend towards the Snuggie. And now, the selfie toaster?
Ooh, that was a hot one.
Meet Galen Dively, president and CEO of the Vermont Novelty Toaster Corporation and the inventor of the selfie toaster.
It's funny because, I just came up with the name selfie toaster, and people say it's genius because, selfie is such big now, and I really didn't think about it. But, if I had called it a picture toaster, I don't think it would have taken off the ground because the selfie is a big thing now. That's definitely a cultural phenomenon. I've always been searching for my pet rock.
A few years ago, Dively started making stencils for toasters. Jesus was the first, but before long, Dively worked Buddha, Obama, and I Love You into his repertoire. Now for the low price of $64, not including shipping, Dively and his team of Toastmasters will put a face on your breakfast.
They upload a photograph if they want. We look at it, make sure it's going to work okay. And then we take it to our CNC cutting machine, and we cut it out of a 24 gauge sheet of stainless steel. And then we grind that, and we test it on our toasters, make sure it looks good, and if it needs any adjustments, I'll go back to the drawing board, make the adjustments. If it doesn't, we put the inserts in the toasters and ship it off to the customer.
The toasters Dively uses are tricked out. In other words, don't try this at home.
The toaster itself has these little rails. They're made special for it. Now you don't want to put stainless steel down any toaster. You can take them out, but please make sure that they've cooled down, and for extra safety, unplug it.
Novelty or not, there is an art to making a good impression.
What you're looking for is a fine-grained bread to get the best picture on the toast. Some breads have a lot of holes in them, and when you're doing a selfie toaster and you got a lot of detail in it, it doesn't come out as nice. Some designs, like the paw print, they'll come out on any toast. Whereas some of the selfie, because you got little lines and you got a little finer detail, if those lines go over a hole, it's not going to be there, so it doesn't come out as good as if it was a fine-grained bread.
All kidding aside, Dively employs 5 people and has a warehouse full of toasters. When it comes to making bread, Dively is all business.
Yeah, it is serious. It's a business, and my wife reminds me that every day. Every year we've doubled our production and doubled what we've been doing. We had the best third quarter ever this last third quarter, and this fourth quarter is looking like our best fourth quarter ever, and it's Christmas time, and next year, we'll have our selfie toasters in stores where people can buy the toaster, and there will be a code in the toaster that they go to our website, upload their picture, put the code in, and we'll send them the inserts. So as soon as we expand to actual where stores are selling them, then next year is probably going to be, we're hoping to grow another 200, 300, 400% by next year.
Fads come and go, and that's kind of the point. One thing that's never out of fashion is a good idea. Even better is a good idea that makes money.
Necessity is the mother of all invention. And I had a whole bunch of toasters in the back part of the warehouse there that wasn't quite selling quick enough, so I had to come up with some idea to sell them quicker. That was my idea. Simple as that.
So the next time you have an idea that pops into your head, take Dively's advice. Or better yet, take a selfie. In St. Johnsbury, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Keith. Across the state, communities are preparing for the arrival of an insect that devastates ash trees. The culprit is the emerald ash borer. The devastating insect has not yet been found in Vermont, but statewide efforts are underway to call attention to the ash borer. Rebecca Gollin reports on a class of UVM students that's working to raise awareness of ash trees and the threat they may face.
You know, maybe other people see that and it'll catch on.
UVM students have long had a reputation as tree huggers, but this is not a nature appreciation class.
We had a map and we were given, specific sections of the city that as teams of 3, we went out and looked at all the ash and maple trees in the city and assessed kind of their overall health conditions at the time. And just we're looking for, any evidence or symptoms and signs of the insects to see if, they were there.
The insect warranting this scrutiny is the emerald ash borer, or EAB. It's an invasive beetle that decimates ash trees. Originally from Asia, the EAB was first seen in the U.S. around 2002, after being accidentally introduced in the Detroit area.
Ash has a wide variety of uses. Just in Vermont, we have plants that are making baseball bats and tool handles, up to fine furniture.
So these are all ash.
Paul Frederick is a wood utilization specialist with the Vermont Division of Forests. He works primarily with the forest product industry, where ash plays a big role. He recently helped put together a report on the economic importance of Vermont's forests.
Roughly 7% of our standing wood in the state is ash. The biggest percentage is sugar maple, and then if going down the list, you end up with ash at about 7%. About 150 million trees, I think, is what's been thrown around as a number. But even though it's only 7% of the standing volume, it's about it's tied for number 2 as far as the amount of volume that's actually harvested and processed in the state every year. Sugar maple,
Frederick, along with many others, has been spending a lot of time lately thinking of ways the state can plan for the arrival of emerald ash borer. The insect has not been detected in Vermont, but those who track it know it's only a matter of time.
When it comes into a new area, oftentimes it's moved by people moving firewood fairly innocently. Somebody has a tree die in their yard, so they cut that tree down into firewood, and in the lake states particularly, they found that people were taking that ash firewood up to their camp in the Upper Peninsula or to Wisconsin or parts of northern Michigan. And they ended up spreading the insect pretty quickly that way. So it tends to turn up in pockets and then expand from there. Not all ash are killed. They've been able to determine that there are some ash that survive, but 98% of the ash essentially dies in those areas from the infestation eventually.
Emerald ash borer are pretty much all around the perimeter of Vermont. It's found in Canada, it's in New York, in New Hampshire.
Professor Kimberly Wallen teaches forest ecosystem health at UVM. It's her students scattered across Winooski, surveying the street trees.
The female moth, if you look at the body size, the female moth has a much larger, thicker body than the male.
Previously, another student had gone around and measured the size and height of a whole bunch of maple and ash trees throughout Winooski, and what we were doing was going back and retaking some of those measurements, seeing if there's been a change, if we notice that, oh, this tree is dying or sick or it's lost branches, or oh, it's been growing a lot in these past few years.
While some of the groups surveyed the trees in the neighborhoods of Winooski, others focused on the downtown area, where a number of the highly resilient ash trees line the streets.
Overall, I'd say it's in pretty good health, would you? Yeah.
When the review is done, the students will provide a final report to the town.
With the street tree plans that we give the communities, that the students give the communities, they can forecast how they're going to manage the ash trees. So what that really allows is flexibility in budgeting. So it's very, very expensive to go in and do all the removal of the trees when emerald ash borer enters a community.
Along with their report, Wallen students often spend time training citizen scientists and members of the community about how to spot signs of disease in their local trees. Having more eyes on the lookout for the insect could minimize damage.
And what did you guys find?
We didn't find any of the insects, which was really good news. The emerald ash borer is not yet in Vermont, so that was kind of expected, but it's definitely good that we didn't find any, of course. And we found that the trees were overall pretty healthy, which is also really great, because the more vigorous the trees are, the more likely they'll be able to combat the insect. So.
No woodpecker sign. I don't see any woodpecker holes.
Planting trees and maintaining healthy trees in urban areas has numerous benefits to the community that they might not even be aware of, like it can help retain heat because trees have a lot of leaves, and that helps to retain some heat, and then also providing shade, aesthetic values, also carbon storage. You know, these trees are soaking up carbon.
The students will be back in Winooski to finish their survey another day, spending time in the field to get their hands on and arms around their subject. In Winooski, I'm Rebecca Gollin with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Rebecca. Our final segment this afternoon looks at the creation of a sand mandala. Mandalas constructed from sand are unique to Tibetan Buddhism and are believed to affect purification and healing. Mandalas can take days to create, and then, like that, they're ritualistically destroyed. To close out today's program, Keith Silva has this video essay from UVM's Fleming Museum. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.